Hello, everybody. Welcome to another beautiful, amazing episode of Greeting Moshiach. My name is Levi Palchenko. This is my co-host Simcha Fish, and this is episode 33.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Long journey, long ride. Coming up to a year anniversary in a month. About. Anyways, that's not the point. What's the point? The point is like this. Someone asked me a question, a very interesting question. And the question was like this. The question was, I've been learning the sikhs, not religiously, but I I've heard a shir here, I've heard a shir there. And the person that was teaching the sikha was not only focusing, but was stressing the crazy avodah that the Rebbe brings out in the sikhs. And obviously it's true. There is the things that the Rebbe says about the Avodah, the things that are achievable, that the Rebbe mentions in the Sichos of Tafshin Nun Beis and Tafshin Nun Aleph also, are really, really incredible, really, really high, really something to really focus on. And he asked me, he said, I hear what you say about the Sichos, and why are you only focusing on the, every Sikha, if you know the Sefer B'suras HaGeula, what it does is it takes from all the Sichos, it takes out the part that are specifically has to do with the B'suras HaGeula, the announcement of the redemption, or what's the word? The other word? The Gospels. The Gospel of the Redemption. I don't know. I put it into Google Translate once, and that's what it said. B'suras HaGeula is.
I wouldn't go with that. The heralding of the God.
Yeah,
some such.
yeah. Say whatever it is. The point is that he asks me that, like, that's like a tiny part of the sikha. What about the rest of the sikha? Like, you kind of like ignore the whole sikha. So, to be honest, we like the short few episodes. Not short, but the goal of this podcast is not really to learn the sikhs. It's not a shir. We're not going and starting from the beginning and reading and translating and giving you the whole sikha. Rather, what we're doing is we're having discussions based on ideas that the Rebbe brings out in the sikhs, that Rebbe mentions in the sikhs. We're basically going off B'suras HaGeula, but the few episodes where they are very focused on the sikha, we do go through big topics that the sikha does, that the Rebbe brings in the sikha. So if you want to go back and you want to look at those few episodes, they're in like the beginning, 3, 4, maybe 5. If you're interested in going back,
listen to all of them,
or you could do that. But the point is that it's a good question. I hear the question, and I'm wondering, Simcha, if you have an answer to such a question.
Well, before we get to the answers, I want to give a disclaimer here.
Okay.
The 2024 Spotify Wrapped came out.
Ooh.
So that's, for those who are on YouTube, I can't help you. But for those of you on Spotify, you know what I'm talking about. So there's a site for everyone's personal Spotify Wrapped. There's also a Spotify Wrapped for creators. So whoever has our show as their top show, we could also see like the top people listening to our show, what are their other top shows that they listen to. So I just want to let everyone know here, that we have a little view here into who our audience is, who are what y'all are into. But that's just the Maimed Muska. All right.
Very nice.
Back to business.
Nachzor le'inyaninu. Yeah. Anyways, no. So what's the right? So are we like this? The question is like this. Let me rephrase the question in a more thoughtful way. Are we ignoring seemingly the biggest part of the sikhs by and focusing on the, the Rebbe said a tiny thing over here, and we're making a whole big deal out of one paragraph of the whole sikha, like especially in Tafshin Nun Beis, a lot of the sikhs are very long, and we're focusing on, is that what we're doing? And what's the
Okay, so I guess there's a few different angles here. This
let's start
is
with the first
sim-
angle.
this is similar to a question that I believe we have discussed previously. Why focus on the Sichos of Nebeis at all? There is so many other volumes of the Rebbe's Torah. Why the focus on Nebeis? Um, and at first, it might seem like a reasonable question, but when you think about it, you realize that it's not a reasonable question at all. There isn't even a question of course we're focusing on Nebeis. Yes, we're focusing on Nebeis. Of course. And I think it's a similar answer. And not that we don't learn the rest of the Kutasi, because of course we do. But of course, what's our focus? What's our drive? What's exciting? Yeah, Mashiach's coming. The Gul is coming. Mashiach's here. He's revealed. He's taking us out of Galus. Like, yeah, why do you care more about that Sikha than Rashi Sikha? I love Rashi Sikhas, but and I learn them every week. But you're
It,
asking me why I'm more excited and I care about the one where the Rebbe tells me Mashiach is revealed? For real?
right. If I
That you
may, this question of why are you focusing on Tafshin on the Sichos of Tafshin and Beis also applies to if you look at Tafshin and Beis, if you learn the Sichos just for the Avodah part, because the things that the Rebbe says about the things that are achievable in Tafshin and Beis, the Rebbe says things that previously wouldn't really think that they're achievable. In fact, they
right.
weren't
So
achievable.
really, so if I'm understanding correctly, even if you're Anglist learning Geschmack Sikha and get a Chiddush and just Avodah and Torah
Just
and regular
Avodah,
things,
right?
even then, Nun Beis should be
Nun
your
Beis,
destination.
right. Nun Beis, it's
Yeah.
it's it's very very potent. It's very like, I'll let you talk, but I'll explain after my thoughts on the matter.
So that's just this is something we've spoken about previously. That I don't really think it's a fair question. It's a bit naive on purpose almost, because I don't think people are asking it on purpose. I mean, like, but if you think about it with a clear head for half a second, you'll realize, like, you know the answer already before you ask the question. You know what the answer is going to be. You just, for a totally different reason, you disagree and you don't think we should focus on it because of some emotional reason. But it's very empirically obvious why one would choose to focus on Beis more than a different series. To compare it is very absurd. If I'm lahavdil, I'll give a mashal I heard recently. Um, one of these big maybe Christopher Hitchens, I don't know, one of these from someone was asking from like, oh, so you really don't believe in God? You mean there isn't a shadow of a doubt? And he was like, well, I don't believe in God the same way that you don't believe in the tooth fairy. How convinced are you? It's like I'm not convinced this way. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't exist. You know? like I have no reason to think he does exist. Like I haven't seen any evidence. There's been zero evidence for the tooth fairy, zero evidence of God. And he's presenting this as a logical point, and it's like, hold it, one moment, Mister. There's no reason why a tooth fairy should exist, and there's an entire universe that was clearly created by God. Like, how you're seriously making it? Well, there's no evidence. The entire universe, that's the evidence. Okay, I understand you don't like that evidence because you have your own biased beliefs, but how can you make that comparison with a straight face? The entire universe screams there's a creator. That's a reasonable supposition, right? I'm not saying crazy thing here. I'm saying there's a massive universe, brilliantly formed, filled with the most brilliant creations. It would seem clear, therefore, that there should be a creator. You want to come with this big chiddush and say, no, there's no creator. Happened by itself. Okay, but how can you compare that to a tooth fairy and a unicorn?
Yeah.
So you have people like, Nun Beis, same thing. It's like, no, they're not. Stop it. They're not the same thing. Just that's
Right.
not a reasonable question. You're not talking fair. Just come back to me when you want to talk sense and ask me like a mensch. The base is different because of all the things that Rebbe said there. That Rebbe is revealing to us literally, like the name of the book, the Besuras Hagula. You want to know why we're focusing on these topics? because of the name. The Basura Sagula, the whole point of this entire universe, why it was actually created. Once we figured out that there's a universe that was created, why it was to have a Dir B'Tachtonim. It was to have Yemei Mashiach. That's the point. And here the Rebbe is telling us all of the prophecies and about the Geula coming and how we can make it happen and bring it about. So you ask me why I'm focusing on that? Of course. That's in general. Now, to get more specific, you can share what you wanted to say.
Oh, I was going to say about the answer to the question as to why seemingly we're focusing on one thing and not the other. And basically the question is asked to as a way of like, you might be wrong. Why might you be wrong? Because again, there's the whole sikha, and the whole sikha is not talking about what you're talking about. The whole sikha is talking about this, and the Rebbe mentions it in a small thing.
Maybe we're misinterpreting pshat at the end of the sikha. On these bits and pieces, we're paraphrasing.
Bichlal, you're making a whole worldview on 2-3 paragraphs of a sikha that is 6 pages long.
So this is similar to what.
Why are you making a whole worldview on that?
So why not? What's the argument that it should be a bigger deal? That I should have spoke about it more for it to be important? Seems to be 2 years worth of discussion about it. Like what? Why is that not good enough?
So the question is our worldview? So the point of the question is to put our worldview into question.
Okay, that's really a separate question, though.
No, it's the same thing. Why? Seemingly, the whole sikha, the Rebbe puts the majority of the
cost on the other stuff. Okay,
correct.
So let me. That's the other point I want to get into.
Yeah,
let's actually get into the way these Farbrengens these sikhs are set up. At least the way I see them. The beginning is usually about some connecting it to, or maybe an introduction, but then connecting it to some, this time of the year, this time of something or other, what's special about today. And the Rebbe builds on that and explains whatever idea he's explaining in that sikha on a regular level. In like a crazy, amazing, deep way, but within normative Hasidic thought, or maybe it's very novelistic, but it's about normal things. It's talking about the Avodah and Golus. It's talking about doing regular things that we're familiar with. And in some sikhs, then the Rebbe takes it to a second level and talks about it from a Geula perspective. And in some sikhs, the Rebbe takes it to even a third level and talks about a Mashiach perspective. Meaning, or in a different way, sometimes the Rebbe discusses your Avodah, the way the Avodah of this idea, what the Rebbe is discussing now, was for all of history in Golus. The way it is on a personal Geula level, as it relates to your own Mashiach and your own soul being revealed. And then lastly, and if I'm learning the sikhs correctly, mainly and most importantly, and this was the point I've been trying to get through the whole sikha, the way it is on the larger scale of the entire world, the actual real Mashiach, person Mashiach. And that's, so to speak, the punchline that I was getting to, that this is what's happening in the world, and this is how we make the actual Mashiach come. And it's a journey to get there. There's the regular Avodah, there's the unique Mashiach, or Geula Avodah by you personally, which is very important. And then there's the meat and potatoes. Whatever news and views that Rebbe has to say about Mashiach himself and the actual Geula. Why would you not? Of course we're focusing on that. That's the big thing. That's the big thing. That's what it's all about. That's where it's at. That's Mashiach. Like what? Oh, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on in Nech and Beis. The Rebbe tells us that our personal avodah is very important. But as far as bringing the Geula is concerned, we finished it. Our personal avodah aside, Mashiach's coming anyways. And what's necessary is this unique thing, and then they spoke about Kiddush Levana to bring Mashiach to actually come. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit naive here. While personal avodah is negay, at the end of the day, that's what makes it happen. Enough people, like the Rebbe says, enough people getting out of their own personal gullus, their own gula. That's what brings the gula. But being that we've already earned the gula, it seems that we've done that to enough of an extent, or that's important for everyone on a personal level. But what actually brings the geula for real, what brings Mashiach, is focusing on Mashiach, the person. Doing that, Kabbalah Spinei Mashiach Tzekenu. Focus. So it's important for you personally to do your Avodah, and even better to do your geula Avodah. And that indeed hastens and brings closer to the actual geula. But more important than that, I don't know, that's the Mashpiyim, but it would seem to me even more important than that is focusing on Mashiach the person and caring about that. Now, is it possible to care about Mashiach the person and the Geula at large if you don't care about it personally? Not really. I mean, yeah, you could. You could say, yeah, I'm a G'nab Yak, but I want Mashiach to come, because then I won't be such a G'nab Yak.
Answer
yes,
to all your
of course.
problems.
Of course, you should be. It's a little bit shallow if you're not focusing on your own personal avodah, and even better, your own personal, not only galus avodah, your geula avodah. But you can't forget about what it's really all about. Even your own personal avodah is not about you. That too is a stepping stone to bring about the actual geula. If you're, it's not about you. I'm sorry to break you the news. It's not about you. It's not really. It's not. So even your own personal, it was always about it. It was always about, yeah, Hashem cares about every yid, and you're special, and we love you. But it's about, as far as I'm concerned, right now, we're trying to bring the Gula. That's the goal. If the goal is the stated goal for the Rebbe Basi Lagani, the first mimer, we're bringing the Gula, then even your own personal Gula avodah, what's the point of it that will bring to Mashiach? That will bring to the Gula. So here the Rebbe is actually talking about Mashiach and Gula. Of course, that's the thing you should be focused on. That's the main thing. That's what it's all about. Don't ignore that. Don't not focus on it. That's not being reasonable. Anyways, that's how. Those are my thoughts on that topic.
Right. So for me, it's a very similar vein, but it works the other way because the Rebbe is building it up towards the end of the Sikha, where he puts a finish on and wraps it all around. Generally, that's where the practical application comes in at the end.
Oh, by the way, I majorly recommend everyone to learn the whole Sikha. It's so geschmack to see the whole build-up and see how the Rebbe explains the concept here and explains the concept deeper and explains it. It's like, wow, there's the whole wow. Like people say, oh, when you see the whole context, you no. You see the whole context, it's so much more beautiful and better and more geschmack. You understand it better. Anyways, yeah, highly recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Varta is that when you learn it, and when you do it in a way that, like this, B'suras HaGeula, the Rebbe approved of it, the Rebbe went over it.
I don't know if the Rebbe went over it, but the Rebbe approved them printing it.
They approved it, right. And even in the beginning it says, it addresses the Rebbe as Melech HaMashiach.
Melech HaMashiach, yeah.
The point is like this. The point is, so obviously the Sikhs are for the B'sura. The point of the whole thing was to be able to tell over to us what's going on.
You even have a few times where the Rebbe says a whole thing, and this too we finished already.
Yeah.
And then says, and now for sure we need to have the Gula. Meaning you see that the Rebbe does that. He says that, mentions whole topics to say, and what I really want to say is that we finished that, and now we're holding by the next level.
Right. So what I'm saying is like this. What I'm saying is that all of the things in the Avodah that the Rebbe talks about in Tafshin and Beis can only be accessed because, like the Rebbe says, we're in Yemaisa Mashiach, because we already have the scholars, because we're already done with Avodas Abrurim, because we're already done with Shlichus as we knew it, we're already done with we already did Shuvah, all these things. Because of that, now we can tap into the Yechida. Now we can tap into things that the Rebbe says that will happen when Mashiach comes. We can tap into that. There's the There's the Torah Chadasha Meitetetze that the Rebbe talks about, and in one of the places where the Rebbe talks about the Torah Chadasha that is going to happen when Mashiach comes, he's going to answer one of the questions, the question of how is the Shara Bar going to be shechted or something?
But Levios is going to shech the Shara Bar.
Right, so how's it going to be kosher?
How is that a kosher to shchita?
Right, so the Rebbe says that that's a question that Mashiach is going to answer, and then what the Rebbe does in that Tzicha is answer the question. Anyways, stam lahar. But the point is that the reason why we kach in Tafshin and Beis is, first of all, it's so geschmack. It's like amazing. It's incredible, the things that the Rebbe says. But also because you have to know what's going on now. Where are you now? Where are you holding? If you don't know where you're holding, then you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You have to know.
I think it's the same people who don't want to know about the news also don't want to know about the Mashiach news. They don't want to know.
Right. Don't tell me what's going on.
I don't want to know what's going on out of the world. I don't want to know what's going on with the Rebbe said about Mashiach. I want to just do the regular thing, what I know. Not this, not that. I don't want to hear about it.
Right. Why was the Rebbe telling us that we finish Avodah Sabirurim? What's the point?
Don't disturb my thing. I got a thing going on. Don't disturb it.
Also, there's a lot of people that didn't know about Avodah Sabirurim, and they were fine, and whatever. They're doing this exact same thing. Like for me, the way I see it is the same person that told you what impact.
Called Birurim.
Correct. There's such a thing called Avodah Sabirurim. Told you that we finished it. So what? You're not going to believe him? For me, it was the biggest half of a pella that people say, oh, we didn't finish Avodah Sabirurim. It's like, oh, really? Wow. It's. Anyways, no. So for me, that's the answer is that 100%. No. Do the Avodah. But the only way you could really tap into that Avodah is by knowing that we already have this galos, by knowing all these things.
So it's all part of the greater story of the real big Mashiach coming.
Correct.
Our personal avodah is a detail in that greater story. This is very interesting what you're saying. It reminds me of a popular song that's become popular recently. Every Yid's a big tzaddik. Recently, the Alter Rebbe told us that every Yid is most definitely not a big tzaddik. We say tzaddik conventionally, but for real, the Alter Rebbe told us halavai benni, and very few people are able to be a tzaddik, let alone a big tzaddik. But the Rebbe told us now generation it's different. Every Yid can be a big tzaddik. You have that. This is already a Mashiach thing. And so it's all part of Pulasa Shemalach HaMashiach al Amim. This is Pulasa Shemalach on the Jewish people, on us. We're changing. We're able to, and this ties in very nicely to another beautiful piece of news that connects with the Pulasa Shemalach HaMashiach. I don't know if you have it, but I'm sure you guys have seen it. But if not, there's a beautiful tweet or a truth from our president-elect. People are wondering, how is he going to be? Is he going to be good for the Yidden? We hope so. Is he not? We can't trust in Al Titachub and even don't trust in people. We have to trust in Hashem. But if this is any indication of where things are headed, this is good news. Do you have the tweet?
Yeah.
All right, go for it. Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump. Everyone is talking about the hostages who are being held so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East. But it's all talk and no action. Please let this, and this is in bold, truth, serve to represent that if the hostages are not released prior to January 20th, 2025, the date that I proudly assume office as President of the United States, there will be, and again in caps, all hell to pay in the Middle East. And for those in charge who perpetrated those atrocities against humanity, those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. And once again, for the third time in bold, release the hostages now! !
Wow.
So, just to give people reference here, the hardest anyone has ever been hit in American history is Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We dropped atom bombs and obliterated their cities and killed an untold amount of people. So he's saying the truth. He said everyone's having just machlekes, the good guys, the bad guys, the genocide. He's like, What are you talking about? You guys are a bunch of murderous, evil comic book villains. Release the hostages. What are you doing? There'll be all hell to pay. This is leave the Jewish people alone. This is not what he's saying things the way they are, and he's not yet president, but in Mitzvah Shem, this will have its desired effect. We know that obviously the Eibishter runs the world, but Leiv Melachim Musarim B'Yad Hashem. If this isn't Pelos Hashem Melech HaMashiach Al Amim, I don't know what is. This is so pro Yidden, pro Israel, so much more than Eretz Yisraelis themselves. It's really amazing. So hopefully we can expect good things.
Yeah, and in this similar thing that we're talking about over here, I highly suggest everybody. We're gonna link it in the description. Highly suggest everybody to go listen to Rabbi Wolf. He has a few shiurim on the topic, and what's incredible that he does, and the reason why I like it so much is because it's very similar to the way the Rebbe talked about in Yanim things that happened with regards to Mashiach. I know you posted this on your channel with regards to I think the Manis spoke in Tafshin Aleph. One of the kudus that he was saying, he was saying about
10,000 views, by the way. Yeah.
Good job. Let's get more. But the point is that he was saying that if you notice, whenever the Rebbe is talking about anything what's the word? Updates or whatever it is, with regards to Mashiach news, what was happening, the Rebbe uses past tense terms. The Rebbe uses terms that, like, Reim Kvar, we already finished, we already see, all these different things. Whenever the Rebbe is talking about future tense, the Rebbe is hoping, right? If all the Vihiratzins are about what's going to happen. Whenever the Rebbe is saying things that are for sure, are always in past tense. So Manas says a very interesting thing, Rabbi Manas Friedman.
Right, for sure, we have already done tshuva. We have already, yeah.
Correct. So what he says is that essentially that's the Vart Mashiach. That's how Mashiach. That's how the whole thing's going to unfold.
He's going to show you how it's here already.
Correct. And I personally, I just had this thought, not now, but yesterday, when I was sharing this with someone, that this could be an explanation to Ein Mashiach and Ben David Ba'ala B'Hesach Hadas. That it's not on your mind. You don't see it happening right. You're not seeing Mashiach walking through the door. You're not seeing
it happened already.
Because it happened already, right? You're like, oh whoa, hey, Mashiach is there. Like all those things.
Oh wow, I actually can do this. I can do the right thing. I can live Mashiach Tekula. It's
right,
the world isn't such a bad place.
Right, and that's also what the Rebbe says about how you have to open your eyes. You have to, if in the Egin, is you have to realize that you're already there. You're already sitting by the table. You're already sitting by the table. It is set with the Sharabar, the Levyasan, the Yain HaMeshamar with Mashiach is there at the table. All these things are already there. They're already at your disposal. We just have to open our eyes. So what Rabbi Wolf did in these few shiurim that we're going to link is he went and he showed you and he shows how from I forgot if he goes all the way to the beginning, but he goes and he shows you how
the key to redemption ones.
No, the ones that recently posted.
Oh, the recent ones.
Recently.
Yeah.
But on Mitzvah Shabbos he had a last week Rosh Chodesh Kislev he had a Fabringen in LA, and he went from the beginning. He said that God created the world with a kavana of Direh B'Tachtonim, and that is Yemei Mashiach and all these things. And then there's the split up into 1,000 years, right? Each day for the Ma'aseh Bereshis, for the way God created the world. 1,000 years is for one of the days. And as you get closer to Shabbos, which is the time of redemption, is Yom Shekol Shabbos, is the Sabbath, the 7th thousandth year, whatever, between 6 and 7.
Millennium.
Yeah, thank you. As we get closer, things start happening in the world to prepare us for that time. And so he goes, and the Baal Shem Tov's time, when he was revealed, there was a certain year, which is, I think, Thursday night, or Yom HaShishi, Leil Shishi, I think Chatzos, the middle of the night is when the Baal Shem Tov was revealed, something like that. And then the Alter Rebbe was revealed. I think the Rebbe Rashab says this. The Alter Rebbe was born, I think. He made a calculation of at the time of sunrise. Anyways, has a whole thing, and leading up to Tafshin Nun Alf Nun Beis, which is already Erev Shabbos after Chatzos, in the middle of the day. So Mashiach comes to prepare us for Shabbos, not just on Shabbos, but he comes to prepare us and the world for the time of the redemption. And then he goes from there and he shows this concept. He explains the concept in short of the fact that Mashiach is going to be revealed, then is going to be concealed, and then revealed again. And he brings the Rabbeinu Bechaya. I'm telling you in short, but I think you should go listen to the long version. That the reason why Mashiach is concealed is because to confuse the Goyim, to confuse the nations of the world. And then he goes and he shows how from Tafshin and Gimel, from 1993 through the past 10-15 years, you see how the nations are what's the word?
Getting confused.
Right, they think that they run the world and they can do whatever they want. They're unashamed. They're whatever it is. And then he talks about Trump, whatever it is. You can go look it up there. But the point is,
your thing.
Correct. But the point is, what's beautiful is that he's showing you how all of these things that happened are part of the process are part of the redemption process, and therefore there's no need to be, traumatized by the fact that Gimel Tammuz happened. There's no need to be traumatized by the fact that 9/11 happened, or even October 7th. There's no need to be like, oh my gosh, we're what's the call, backstep or withdrawn, we're setback. These are not setbacks. These are just part of the process.
One of the things that makes, I think, life scarier for a lot of people is you don't know how the story ends, and you don't feel like anyone's in the driver's seat. You're certainly not in the driver's seat, and that's scary. And you don't know where it's going to take you. That's why it helps to have a Munah B'Tachon and realize that the Eibishter is in the driver's seat, and the story ends well. That's a very comforting thought. And it's the same thing here. The Rebbe is in the driver's seat. Mashiach's in the driver's seat. And it's all part of the story, and it ends well. It's good to bear that in mind. Think about that. Whatever's going on this way, that way, Mashiach is revealed. He's affecting the world. I don't know exactly what forces. That's a lot of guesswork. But we know he's here, he's present. And just like in our own personal lives, you see things happen. You have some good days, you have some better days. And Hashem is still in the driver's seat. Hashem didn't take a vacation because you're not having a good day. Nobody says, "Oh, well, I guess God doesn't exist anymore because I'm having a bad week." No, the Eibishter is still doing everything. With the Torah is still true. Everything is great. Everything doesn't fall apart because you didn't have a good day. It's the same thing. The Rebbe is still. The Gula is still on track. Everything's still happening. Yeah, it was a Gimel Tammuz. There was a Dust. There was a Jens. Don't worry about it.
And we did this a few episodes back where we explained the whole amazing, incredible words from the cabinet picks, that they're mamish very pro Jews and pro Yiddishkeit and pro even to the point of the miracle of the third temple could happen. That's like mamish wild. Anyways, he talks about it there. Very geschmack. I think I highly suggest everybody go view it, listen to it, just for the very simple fact to comfort you, knowing that we're still in the process. Mashiach is running the world, like you said. Mashiach is in the driver's seat, like it's one of the names of one of his shiurim. It's good. It's going to be good. Mashiach is here. Mashiach is here, and with that knowledge, with that comfort, you can spend your time, spend your days being Mekabel, accepting Mashiach by working on yourself very, very hard, by striving to achieve the status of a tzaddik, even though you are a tzaddik, but you can still, you should connect your mind and heart, your status as a tzaddik to your actions as a tzaddik. Do the Avodah, and at the same time, do it like Kabbalas Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu. Do it all to greet Mashiach, to welcome Mashiach in the world, to have the final revelation, Le'ain Kol, that everybody should see, not just us. It shouldn't be just us telling you what's going on. You should be able to see it with your own eyes, and we should also be able to see it with our own eyes in a very, very physical way. That we don't need explanations, we don't need gematrias. We should be able to see it and know it, and it should happen very, very soon. L'chaim.
Amen. We want Mashiach now.
Amen.
ועד כדי כך המדב גולהוב der עם soll machri sein, יחי המלך.